I wanted to make this video to talk about all of the thoughts that go through my head on a daily basis and to talk about my feelings. I don't think I've ever been this candid in my entire life, especially about how I feel. I spend most of my time denying my feelings, denying the validity of them, denying that they are subjectively true, accepting that they are objectively true, therefore rendering them invalid. But I know that it doesn't do me any favors, and it doesn't help lessen my suffering, a suffering that I deny quite a lot. I deal with a huge amount of imposter syndrome, partly due to the version of me that I developed over many years to deal with my struggles, and that person that I developed was someone who couldn't accept the level of struggle that I endure every single day, every single moment. It's funny to think that as a teenager, I already knew the kinds of struggles that I would have in my life. I remember as a teenager, only just started my first job at 15, 16. Seeing a version of myself 20 years from then as someone who couldn't take care of themselves, couldn't work, couldn't keep it together, and that ended up being true, even though I spent all of that time trying to convince myself that I was someone that could always push through and that no obstacle before me would stop me. But it still did, and I failed to realize it and to notice it. I know that for as long as I could remember, I always felt extremely exhausted and tired, to the point where laying in bed felt like the most natural thing for me to do, only to feel guilty about it whenever I did rest, which was a lot as a child because it was often accepted as lazy child, lazy teenager, unmotivated. It was a lie, but I accepted it. I told myself that I was that lazy person, that person who wasn't any use to anybody and not reliable. I remember not wanting to tell anyone that I just wanted to go to bed, because I knew that was not accepted and not good enough. But that's how I've always felt. So I didn't accept it. Funnily enough, even though I didn't accept it, every few years the pretending became too much and I couldn't deny it anymore. And there have been quite a few periods where I tried to present this really strong, take no prisoners, never give up facade, only to so many times being unable to work, being stuck in my bed because at that time I couldn't pretend anymore and that's all I could do, and feeling guilty every second of it. And it's funny that I already foresaw that for myself at a young age. I knew I was always going to struggle with this. No matter how much I tried to convince myself that I could just keep pushing through and work 200% more than everyone else and put on this ruthless, no excuses kind of persona, only to have that crumble every couple of years or even every couple of months in terms of work. I've had so many jobs and I've been amazing at all of them. Dare I say even the best at every single job, almost. But my body, my mind knew the truth, and that's why I couldn't stay long term in jobs. I made excuses to everyone around me and to myself that it was maybe I just had some mental health issues and that's why I couldn't keep it all up. I told myself that I wasn't trying hard enough. And that's got to be it. And I've just got to learn to try harder. I've got to learn some harder lessons. I've got to discover deep parts of myself that can open up and get me through. But, you know, despite all of my hard work, that prophecy came true, and it's not a prophecy that I wanted to believe was true, but coming to accept that it is true is really hard. It's hard to swallow that truth. Even now, you know, finally getting a diagnosis, finally realizing that being so tired that I can't do things sometimes is part of my condition. There's still a part of me that can't accept that, who wakes up every day thinking, if I just wait long enough, things will get better, or I will find out that it really was due to a lack of not trying hard enough. Right now, for the past 6 months, now that I finally have a roof over my head, my days consist almost entirely of things that I know I can do and resting when I need to. Although I don't want to admit that I'm resting when I need to, because there's still some guilt there. I know that when I don't rest and when I deny it, it comes around and bites me in the ass eventually, because it always does. And I guess that's a strong indicator of the truth that I don't have the capacity of a lot of other people and of the person I projected to everyone. Right now, my days consist of waking up, running around frantically for the first hour of my day, trying to make sure that I've remembered to prepare food and have a shower and make sure that any bills or tasks that are really important are in my brain, so that they won't surprise me or catch me off guard, especially when I'm tired and not being able to act on it and things falling back. That first hour it's tiring, but it's probably the only time of the day I can do it. Confidently. After that, I go to the gym and stretch and exercise to stop all of the pain and the injuries and health issues that I have, because when I am tired, nothing's worse than laying down and being in excruciating pain when you want to rest. So that second hour is spent doing that. After that, I find somewhere peaceful to sit and feel like I'm doing something. Usually it's reading at the library, or maybe just going for a short walk. The really hard thing to accept about that is, after that I'm completely wiped out. I've got nothing left. And although that sounds like a pretty sad, boring existence, for the first time in my life, I feel like I am working within my means, and there is an unbelievable amount of peace I find in that, because I'm not in survival mode and I'm not trying to pretend, knowing that the pretending is only going to get me so far and I'm going to suffer shortly after that. And there's still guilt around that. I'm okay with the first 2 hours because it seems really productive, and anyone without my struggles would agree with that, and that makes me feel good. It makes me feel, I don't know, valid. But the other 2 hours spent sitting reading, it makes me feel like a waste of space. It makes me think that if I can do that, then why can't I work? Why can't I reliably go and do some of my hobbies? Why can't I risk having some enjoyment? But I really can't, because I might be able to push through it one day, and convince myself that I am able to do those things and keep up with it, the next day I can't. So it's really difficult to let go of that version of myself that I created to be acceptable to everyone, to seem productive, to seem like someone who is a worthy citizen on this earth. It's hard for me to accept the life I have now. It's not devoid of struggles, but I'm able to give what I actually have in the bank, in the energy bank, in the being awake bank. But, the fact that I can actually rest and manage my symptoms the way I should makes me feel guilty. It doesn't make sense. And I know it's gotten in the way of me getting help and support because I kept masking and denying my struggles, which meant that I wasn't able to express them and show them because I was too stubborn and too cruel to myself to accept it enough to show it. I hope that I can let go and accept my capacity, and to not be guilty and not feel guilt and not beat myself up and not create these thoughts or ideals around the person I was pretending to be, because I know that's not me. I'm not that person. And that person was likable and inspirational and someone a lot of people looked up to. But underneath it all, that's not me. And if I'm going to get help, if I'm going to find support to live out the rest of my life, I have to let go of that. And that's so difficult, so hard, especially when you weren't listened to and taken seriously in the odd times that I did speak up and say I was struggling. I just want to feel valid and worthy. I don't even feel worthy of my struggles. I say that like to really accept my struggles would be accepting I'm someone who is allowed to have them. And that sounds pretty dumb, but it's the truth. So I just hope that I can get out of my own way and to accept that I need help, and accept that I can't do everything, accept that person I developed that seemingly could do everything isn't me and isn't sustainable, and life has taught me that it's not sustainable because I've had so many so many periods in my life where everything has had to stop because I couldn't fight anymore, and I had to make excuses like I was sick or that I probably had some mental health issue. But it was that my capacity was just not high enough, and I want to accept that that's okay. I want to tell myself that that's okay and believe it, but it's hard. So I don't know where to go from here, but I know that to lessen that burden and to lessen that struggle and that anxiety, I'm going to have to accept it in some way. And it's going to take a long time, but I'm not going to survive if I don't. There's only so many times that you can fall down before you can't get up.